Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we're back again. It's Wednesday. You know what time it is. You know what day it is. It's the Bold Tradition Sports Media Podcast. As tradition, I'm that dude with the beard. He's Mr. KC from the 813. What's going on, my man?
Oh, just another excellent day looking at this crazy off season that we're having so
Whew,
far.
man, yeah. And we got a guy off the board early who we had talked about last week and about a team that we had talked about what needed a fix at that particular position.
Right.
You want to talk
Absolutely.
about it? You want to speak about it since you covered it? You want to talk about them real quick?
Yeah, we can shine a little light on it if you want to.
Might as well. They gave him 100 million guaranteed. We Am I still there? It looked like I cut out there for a second.
Yeah, you cut out on me for a second.
Oh, anyway, Derek Carr's the man with the plan. Landed him a new deal, new city, Saints. You got you a quarterback. So what we gonna do? Michael Thomas is happy about it. Look like Tyron Lue might be happy about it. What do you think, Mr. KC?
I'm
Problem
ex-
solved?
It is. You maybe you might be running into Andy Dalton 2.0. That could very well be the situation, but I think it's a good move for the Saints, and I think it's a good new location for Derek Carr. It's going to be interesting to see what he can do when he goes down there. He does get a good quality wide receiver in
Michael Thomas.
with Thomas, yeah, and it'll be interesting to see what if Kamara does get a play and whatnot.
Right.
It'll be interesting to see that kind of combination too. Kind of sets him up for success, but I can also see another Andy Dalton situation.
Uh, oh man, I'm just not there on the it being a Dalton-esque situation. I think it should be tremendously better. I think Derek Carr, without a shadow of a doubt, is the clear-cut better quarterback in the situation when we're talking about them two personally.
Yeah,
Um,
I'd say that you're getting better quarterback play out of Derek Carr than you
right.
are at Andy Dalton, especially at that point of Andy Dalton's career. But even at I'd say peak Derek Carr is probably better than peak Andy Dalton, but it's pretty close.
No, you're not lying. It is pretty close here. So, with that in mind, here the Saints will solve the problem here. We'll see how they move going forward and addressing some of the other glaring needs on the team here. But, ladies and gentlemen, we're coming at you with a new division, another division, a division that's seemingly in the media almost at this point because of what's going on with a former unanimous MVP. We're coming at you with some
Oh, it's doing it again. Yeah,
Oh no.
yeah, it's getting us again.
Uh-oh. We're
You're
trying to
good
hate
now.
on these bold predictions.
Right.
As tradition, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to let Mr. KC start us off here with the first team out the AFC North, who he chose to give some fixing to help steer their franchise maybe toward, I would say a Lombardi, but they got to play in past division, but I mean, conference, but, to be in the conversation. Let's play for second. Let's talk about it. Who you got, Mr. KC?
Well, I'm actually gonna keep my big guns in the holster for just a moment and talk about another team in the division that I think has the opportunity to at least be competitive and could be at least in the contention of the playoffs. Might even win this division, possibly. This is one of those tough, funky divisions, in my opinion. And that is the Cleveland Browns. And this is a fun week for me because this week we don't talk about we need quarterbacks. Cleveland, we have our quarterback,
Hmm
Deshaun Watson. Where's he
hmm
getting us so far? Eh, given up on Deshaun yet. Look, he still has an opportunity. He is not Russell Wilson yet. Almost. But we're not quite there yet. Look, with the Browns, we got $14 million in cap space. So we got a few dollars to be able to do a few things. You can spend a few things. Our draft picks aren't going to blow you away. We don't have a first round draft pick. Um, we do have pick 42 in the second round, so
Hmm.
start getting talent, and then third, fourth, and fifth is all going to be top 150 picks. So right in that 141 range, um, there in the fifth round. So you got enough on this team to get some talent around Deshaun Watson. I think that's kind of what we're going to need to focus on doing. You have Amari Cooper, who's okay-ish, but let's be honest, we need to give him something more than just that. You have an excellent running back in Nicholas Chubb, so you don't really, if you want to spend one of these sixth, seventh round picks on a running back, I can dig it. But we really need to focus on where we're going to get some wide receiver or some kind of tight end talent to help pair with Amari Cooper in such a way that it makes the Browns competitive.
Amari Cooper.
This might be a good fit for them to kind of chase McCall Hardman. That might be a good landing spot for the Cleveland Browns. You might be able to entice
Maybe,
him to come
yeah.
play with Watson, and he could be a good number two in that kind of a situation. Number three, give you some funk. Um, you don't really have the draft capital to move up any kind of crazy places or do any big splashy moves there. And if anything, you'd almost want to move down in like your third and get a couple fourths or something like that. And I think if you can just focus on getting a little bit more on the defensive end or defensive line to go with Miles Garrett, you could have something there with the Browns. It's a possibility.
Man, it's a possible. Anything is possible. Um, Me personally, I just think it's too much to overcome. I think the contract that they gave Watson's going to inevitably be the reason why they can't overcome. But we've talked about that. We're not going to dwell on that and get back into it.
Right.
But geez
But
Louise,
they are accounting for that full $54 million cap hit from Watson this season with having $14 million in cap space. So they kind of bucks that narrative. And we've seen it with Mahomes. They said it with Mahomes too. You can't pay a quarterback big money and win a Super Bowl. And we've seen Mahomes kind of prove that statement wrong. So I'm kind of hoping they can do it again.
well, guess we'll just have to see about that, huh, Cleveland? Um, Maybe if you finally get some guts and trade Kareem Hunt, you can bring in some more talent at another skill position.
I think Kareem
And
Hunt's he's actually just a free agent.
is he
This
unrestricted?
I believe so.
Is
So
I hope he's calling Andy Reid and Clark Hunt, leaving voicemails, apologizing. Got Crimey River on in the background, telling him how much sorry he is. Bring Kareem home. We need to start the hashtag. We need to put it in the ticker. Hashtag Bring home Kareem. We need
uh,
him back. We need him back with his boy Patrick. That'll solidify every consideration at running game. But anyway, we'll
well, he's the
talk
running
about
back
that.
everyone thinks Pacheco is. So I would definitely like to have him back. So
The only difference is Pacheco's a champion.
mm, true, true,
Hmm.
true.
Ooh wee! Goodness gracious!
Hashtag big facts.
Right. Uh, yeah, no, I mean, Yeah, I agree with you. They need some major fixes around the areas, and if they can get him some help, maybe. Like I said, I need to see more from him because, like you said, he's not Russell Wilson, but he's looking like his twin. He's looking like how, and I mean twins like how Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito did it in that movie. They're not identical, but
Yeah,
but one's the guy who's about 6'4", one's the other guy who's about 4'11" and a quarter. Like I say, he thinks he's Drew Brees. One thinks he's Pat Mahomes. We'll see what happens, but it's
yeah, yeah. We'll see on that one. Good luck, Browns, and
yeah,
we hope you at least have a good fight in this AFC North. It's a tough division.
right. It is, and I'm gonna go ahead and jump on into my team here, who I'm gonna lead off with, and some fixes they can make, and some moves that could possibly be made with a couple of other cuts. We're gonna start with the lock your doors, lock your windows, close your curtains, because we don't go below 500. We're the Pittsburgh Steelers, led by Mike Tomlin. Um, I think that a couple of fixes will put them right on in the mix for a couple of situational players that'll really upgrade their defense and some that receiver. I was thinking they could go after McCole Hardman as far as wide receiver there in Pittsburgh. Get him with young Kenny Pickett. You can pay him a little money. You ain't got to pay him through the roof looking at his history. It could be feasible. I think they can cut Miles Jack and get a little extra money to try and go and get Bobby Wagner, the guy
Mhm.
whose PFF saying is the greatest at the inside linebacker right now.
I mean,
You
he's
go ahead.
legit.
I mean, he's
That'd be
legit.
a
He's
good.
just Bobby
Yeah,
Wagner. I'm not gonna take nothing from him, but right now, okay, no sweat. So, you can make that move here, or you can try to get T.J. Edwards. I mean, depending on where he come from and his price tag, I mean, he'd be a nice addition. If you don't cut Jack, you could try to go for him. But I mean, there's a couple of situational players they could get, like I said, that kind of sure up that middle of that defense, and then they'll really be rolling. I mean, T.J. Watt and enough, and them boys says enough for themselves. We know what they're doing up front. So it's just that secondary or that mid level that I worry about here. You maybe look at another safety in the draft here. Possibly even try to get Orlando Brown Jr. If he's still on the market here to shore up that left side a little bit more to give Kenny Pickett more time to really step into his role. Who else they could get? They got the 17th draft pick, first round. Thinking you could either go receiver there, or you could try to get my boy Paris Johnson from Ohio State left tackle if the Orlando Brown situation don't work out. You got the 32nd pick. You can go ahead and get you a receiver then. Really, at that point,
Oh,
you
so
can
they got
hook
the
that up.
17th and the 32nd,
Hmm.
two first rounders.
Right.
That's a nice, for a team that's building. That's a nice way to build.
Oh yeah, they got 49 after that, and then 80. So, like I said, you've got enough capital to make an impact in the draft to get some guys that, like I said, could fill those positions. Get, like I said, get a guy who's going to be your number one receiver, and then, like I said, get a McCole Harbin, another guy who could just be out there scrambling the defense around. You got a pretty good running game as is. You make those few defensive moves. The running game is pretty decent out there.
It's
The running
okay.
back, I'm about to say,
Yeah,
the running back's pretty good.
Tomlin can always scheme up a run game. I feel like so.
Yeah. So with that in mind, like I said, I'd go with something along those lines here. Like I said, you got a lot of moves you need to make, but really you got the currency to do it. I mean, their capital right now they're just a little bit like a million over, but after the dust settles, they'll have some money to move around. And like I said, if they cut Miles Jack and want to save an extra 3 million there, trying to go get a Bobby Wagner or even somebody in the draft at that point, you could always do that too. So I mean,
Right.
we'll see what they do inevitably, but the middle of the defense is the main area of my concern and skill player for Kenny Pickett to actually get somebody to get the ball to help make plays. So
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
yes,
It's,
sir.
it's, it's a good chance for the Steelers. They could rebound if this is a good draft for them. I think they could do something.
Oh yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. Um, I'm thinking it is going to be the one for them, but I've been high on the Steelers a little bit. Uh, I'm almost even going on record right now. If this turmoil is still shaking in the North, you might be looking at the Kings of the North on the AFC side now. I see the look in your eye because it can happen.
Oh, because
All it
you
takes.
are you looking at my notes down here or something? You know a team I'm
Ooh,
about to talk about? Is that what you were just saying? The Kings of the
mm,
North?
yeah, no, the real Kings of the North. Yeah, I got you. Go ahead, Mr. Casey. Regale us. I got you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is a fun one for me because I'm getting the team that's going to win this division, and that is
Ooh,
the Cincinnati Bengals. Look at this team and how competitive they have been.
the
Look,
nasty natty.
not too far removed from a trip to the Super Bowl and a
Now,
very competitive game with the Chiefs in the playoffs. Um, it's always a fighting chance. And the most exciting thing about this team is we are looking at $35 million in cap
mm,
space. 35. Yeah, you heard that right, folks. $35 million in
sound the
cap
same out of
space.
both. 35. Goodness gracious.
Yes, yes. This gives us the look. And the problem with this is with this $35 million, it's kind of a trap because you have the money this year, but you don't really have the money in the future.
And you
So
know who you got to pay right now.
yeah, you got to pay a couple guys. You got a whole bunch of dudes in line. You know, Burrows, he's
Your
gonna break the
offensive
bank.
core, your whole
He's
core.
he's gonna be some money, and he's worth it.
That Joe
If this,
Burrow.
yeah, that Joe Burrow
That Joe
is
Burrow.
worth it. If you're gonna pay someone, Joe Burrow's a good choice to pay. Jamar Chase,
Woo,
another young wide receiver talent. You're going to have to
woo.
pay him worth paying. You need to keep that combination together. And I really expect him to do that in the future.
As long as you can.
Higgins is going to need to be paid. You got a few guys
And
around.
I and I don't know if they can keep all three. That's the only thing I'm worried about.
It's going to be a roll of the dice, and it's going to be interesting to see what they do here. But this does really set up a situation for a lot of quality 1 year deals where you can kind of overpay a guy because you got a little extra money. It's only a 1 year deal. Go ahead, tell Bobby Wagner or somebody to go holler at somebody and say, "Hey, listen here, let's make a one good effort. Let's go." You know, you look at the draft. In the draft, their first round to the 28th. They got a second at 60, a third at 92. So that gives you three in the top 100, another one in the fourth to give you one in the top 150. You know, that gives you four in the top 150. Kind of light, but not terrible. Um,
Hmm.
we really need to start trying to get, and they addressed it last year, but we really need to start working on getting Joe Burrow protected. I do,
Man,
I really, I'd really be afraid of Joe Burrow if he had a quality offensive line. If he had Pat Mahomes' line, which isn't the most devastating, but it was a very legitimate offensive line. And
yeah, that's not bad.
if he had that level, that might be just what it takes to get Joe Burrow over the edge. So I know we really need to focus on shoring up that defense, but man, if we can we spend a couple picks early, a couple early picks on that offensive line for Joe Burrow?
Oh, that
We got
Joe
the wide receiver
Burrow.
talent. You got the quarterback talent. You got that figured out. The offense is almost there. It is so close to being just uh, devastating. The only thing we really kind of need to pick up on the offense, besides offensive line, is a running back. Mixon's probably gone, and no reason to really pay for one. If you're gonna pay for one, I could see a Kareem Hunt coming here. That could be a nice fit for
Mm,
him. I know we've
that'd be
talked about him
nasty.
earlier. Yeah, would be a nice, kind of very compatible to what you
Another
had in
pass
Mixon.
catcher.
Yeah,
Ooh,
it's a plug in. It'd be a very plug and play to me. So and you have a few options. And I can see him drafting a running back. If you want to use like that fifth, sixth, or seventh round pick on a running back, which is a real popular area for running backs nowadays. That could be a nice couple swings there. Maybe draft two of them, see what you get.
Maybe. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? You end up getting two guys that you can rotate, and they both can make plays. So I mean, yeah. Or
Right.
you just lose one. Shoot, maybe you lose both, but for almost nothing. I can see that. That's not a bad idea.
Yeah. Yeah. Take your fifth and your seventh. Put that on a running back. Use your two and three on a couple offensive linemen, and then your first round pick, cornerback or defensive line, something like that.
Hmm.
Get that defense kind of shored back up, which is kind of an underrated defense, to be honest with you. But I like the big things
They're
out of
rated.
Cincinnati.
I think they're rated appropriately. They
It's yeah,
they they
it's room
they
for
they
improvement.
really honestly they remind me of our Kansas City's defense almost. Except
Yeah,
for they're not as bend as we are because we don't lose that many games.
right.
Like, but they got guys who can make plays at every level, and they usually make the right play at the right time, unless they're just absolutely getting hammered, blown out, or something. So I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
I'd say that's a fair comp. Actually, I could see a lot of similarities in the defensive over
yeah,
there.
oh yeah. Like I said, I mean, we'll see. The Bengals are going to Bengal, so maybe they'll fumble this whole draft, or maybe not. They've shown recent success these last few years. They struck gold a few times, so we'll see what happens here. Yeah, we'll see what happens with Joe Barrow and them up there in Cincinnati. We're gonna move on to the next team in the NFC North, who should have been the Kings in the North, but due to what I would say, what I said on the show a while ago, which is almost turning out to be, I don't want to drop the R word, but the ownership and the leadership there is very, I would say, friend Steven like, for those who've seen Django amongst other films. Lamar Jackson, this situation here is unprecedented to me. And then you have certain teams crawling out the word, certain teams who couldn't even afford Lamar, even if they wanted to, but coming out saying that they don't want him, they're not interested, they're not interested. My thing is, if this was anybody else who was a unanimous MVP, they'd be lined up at the door. He just had to be of the fairer skin, as they like to say in media. But the whole situation to tag this man, and then if anybody comes on offer a deal, y'all see if y'all want to match it or not. It's what y'all been doing. Y'all play security more than y'all play for wanting to win a championship. It's like y'all just trying to keep
Mhm.
the franchise afloat almost at this point. Um, the Ravens need new GM. They need new leadership. They need new scouts. As far as my design for their team, it's time to blow up the office. And then it is time to trade Lamar. I feel like the relationship is soured. And if it hasn't, if there is some reproach left on their end to try to seal a deal with him, maybe it happened, but maybe it won't. I think it's probably done because I think somebody will offer him a max deal. There's still plenty of teams out there who need a quarterback. Houston, Indianapolis, the Jets, Detroit, shoot, even the Titans.
Yeah,
So
and really, out of all the quarterbacks that you could get, he's gonna be the probably the best one you could get.
he's clear cut the best you
Yeah,
could
I
get.
mean the only one that's even in the conversation next to him is maybe Aaron Rodgers, and that has a whole other
Man,
roll of the dice to it too.
that's trade situations. Can you even afford that kind of situation?
Right.
It's a yeah. So
And I just feel like Lamar's contract that he's asking for, or what it's rumored, we don't know. One thing about the Ravens and Lamar is neither side really leaks things. So this is all speculation. But
right,
it doesn't. doesn't sound like Lamar's asking for tons of money, so I don't understand
He
why
just
they
want
can.
his money guaranteed. Like
Yeah,
half these bums out here who's not even performing at the level that he has hurt or not. Like, I mean, these guys got so much guaranteed money and they haven't done anything to earn it. But a man who's out here when you're not surrounding him with no talent or he has talent and you trade it away. And then all this other stuff, he's doing all the stuff by himself to the point where he's playing so hard he ends up getting hurt because he's literally doing everything by himself. You don't want to give this man no bread or help. Like I said, I believe the situation is soured. One of these teams will come and get him. I really believe it. Or you could even see a possible trade because the Ravens need a run. They need a better running back for what they're trying to do. Inevitably switch over to is going to be real just run heavy because they're going to have to trade Lamar. I think they're going to try to trade J.K. Dobbins somewhere, maybe trade him to Kansas City for a third rounder. They can get there,
mm,
they can have him, and they can draft some people. Get Eric Fisher, left tackle out of free agency to help shore up the offensive line for whoever's going to end up playing quarterback there, because they got the what or Jason Peters. He's another cheap deal. Um, but they got the 22nd pick, 86th pick, the 124th, the 150th pick. So you really only got three picks that I think are going to be feasible. That 150 pick is hit or miss. Just depends
yeah,
on what you're
that's
looking
still,
at.
yeah, that 150 mark is still slightly dicey. You know,
Right.
anything. I'm a huge fan of the top 100. That 100 to 150 range is where you think you're getting something pretty good, but you know, when you're buying toys from the dollar store, you never know what you're
You
getting.
never know.
Yeah, yeah, and that's when you're starting to reach a little bit.
And so, however they shake out this quarterback situation, whether somebody do try to do a sign and trade, or however the situation work with the tag, give it, offer Lamar a deal, and then they can match it or not. Uh, like I said, I think he's out of there. One of them teams will go and get him, and then
How
after
much cap?
that,
How much cap space are they working with?
Baltimore's cap space. Matter of fact, give me 1 second. Uh, 26 million right now,
Right. So, and
and so.
ideally, Lamar's gonna take a chunk of that. Um,
Right, because salary cap is gonna be 32 million
because
regardless.
I feel like with the Ravens, even though the game they're playing is risky, you can't let Lamar go. You really can't let him walk. He's going to be a tough guy to replace. It's so hard to have a top 10 quarterback in this league. You know, there's 20 teams looking for one right now. More than 20, if you want to get
Right,
technical.
22.
Yeah, 22 teams are looking for one right now. And even most of the ones, Lamar's not even what I would call fringe top 10. You know, he's really more in that mid, 6, 7 kind of range. Some people would even have him in
I've
top
got him
five.
at five. That's what I said.
Yeah,
I have him at number five. I don't know
yeah.
the reason why he's fifth right now because he really didn't play the whole year. But a healthy Lamar Jackson, I'd put him in the same. He's in the Patrick Mahomes conversation, in my opinion. Not saying
Well,
that he's better, but saying that he's in the stratosphere where Patrick Mahomes is heading. He,
right.
you got to have them few taper off guys. You
Well,
know,
and he's the type of quarterback they can beat a Josh Allen or a Joe Burrow.
Man, any given
And
Sunday,
right,
like he's
there's
already and he's done beat Pat a couple. They always talk about Joe Burrow. Oh, he be Lamar Jackson beat Patrick Mahomes what 2, 3 times already?
I think twice.
Something
Yeah, he's got a win or
like
two.
man, like they don't give him enough respect, and like that's the
Or does
problem.
he? Actually, I don't know if Lamar has beat Pat.
Yeah, oh, trust me. Let me look it up. Let me look up the head to
I'm
head.
actually I'm
I'm
kind of
sure he
thinking
has.
I'm actually kind of thinking in my head that he might not have.
He's beat him. Trust me. He because they beat us in the game. Remember the game they came back on when who did he try to throw the touchdown to? Was it DeAnthony? Not DeAnthony Tom. The, who, what was that bum's name before matter of fact, he ended up in Baltimore. Demarcus Robinson.
Mm.
It was that game. Let me tell you. Hold on, give me a second here. Blah 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 blah. Where is it at? Come on, Google, you ain't that effective.
Not today, not today, folks.
Man,
Yeah, but it's
there we go. Here we go. Mm, Here we go. Lamar Jackson. They keep showing me articles. I just need numbers, folk. Come on now. This is why we need to have a stats guy who could be ready, folks, right here and right now in these situations. Here we
yeah.
go. Patrick Mahomes versus Lamar Jackson not stats. Oh my goodness. I put head to head. This is simple. Well, folks, I'm getting to it here. I don't know what's going on. Lamar.
Yeah, and the Ravens, I feel like they keep Lamar, and I don't know if they ever surround him with talent. It seems, I believe I seen a thing that said it was actually the lowest amount spent on offense. So the narrative that Lamar is not just really carrying this team is kind of crazy to me.
He's beyond carrying him. His back should hurt.
Mm. And it is, and it should hurt when on his way to the bank, but
Man.
the check ain't cleared yet. So it'll be interesting to see how it all shakes out by the end.
Okay, so well, uh, okay, I guess he only beat him once. Pat's 3-1
All
on
three on one. Well,
on
at least you got the
Lamar.
one. Yeah.
I was gonna say because it was a last second win. Like it was literally last second. It's the same one where Lamar he did like a flip into the end zone. I remember the game. I just
That's right. That's right.
yeah, I was
Okay.
I remember the game. I just yeah, goodness
I know.
gracious.
Yeah, I know what game you're talking about now. Yeah, but I mean, it's still. But it's. I agree with you. It's still Lamar's in that kind of conversation.
Yeah, because but like I said before, there was this ain't taking nothing from Joe Burrow and none of them other guys, but before they was even not in the league, because well, you know when Lamar come, he was in 18. He came the year after Pat. So when did Joe Burrow come in? Was that the 1920? Him and Herbert and them? Because
Uh,
Allen was in before Mahomes.
Allen wasn't in before Mahomes.
Or was it the same year?
No, Allen came in the year after, and came the year after, but he started a rookie year, and Mahomes was also uh, that
Yeah,
was the
no,
year
they
Mahomes
was in the
started.
same one. Yeah, in 2018 draft. That was Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen.
Yeah, right,
Yeah. So it's the 18 draft. And your boy Baker.
right. They're all three first round
Sam
picks too. Yeah.
Darnold. Remember Josh
Hell
Rosen?
yes.
He's not is he even in the league anymore?
Yeah, Sam Darnold. He was the best quarterback for the
No,
Patriots
I
this
said
last
no, I'm
year.
talking about Josh Rosen.
Oh, I do not believe he is actually. Man,
Good.
I really I swung and missed on on Rosen, man. I was like,
Yeah,
well, you just didn't get a fair shake with the Cardinals. You know, it was just not the best of opportunity down in the desert. You know, give him a fair shot somewhere else. Then he went to, I believe, Miami. It was also just
good
garbage.
night. That's what they call good night.
Mm.
But that being said, though, uh, Lamar Jackson, I would still say he's the cream of the crop of the 2018 quarterbacks drafted. Um, Somebody's gonna give him that money. He's better than Josh Allen. He's better than
Uh,
Josh Allen. He's better than Josh Allen.
oh, it's so close. It's just two different
And
styles
I
of
don't think it's close
quarterback
at
too.
all.
It's
I don't even think it's an iota close.
Well, the problem is Josh Allen can still run a little bit. He's still a somewhat mobile
Right.
quarterback, and he has a big arm.
But right, Lamar Jackson has a huge arm,
He's got a
and
bit.
he's got a cannon. Look at him. Look, that's that-
It's an underrated throwing arm. I'll give you that for Lamar. But the thing is I just mm,
it's that
think
boom
I
bam.
feel like Allen's a better natural thrower. It's
I
just
don't know. My boy Lamar got a better resume overall,
I
even stretching back to college.
well, and
He's a
it'd be
bad
interesting to
man.
see if Lamar Jackson got a Stephon Diggs. If that actually
Man,
happened.
so we need to keep track. So I'm thoroughly confident saying Lamar won that versus battle versus Vic. We need to move him on almost like a king of the hill in this versus situation. Move him on to the next. Lamar Jackson versus Josh Allen. I want to put that on the table.
Oh,
I want to put
let's
it on the table.
let's get to it. Then we'll have to do a versus. I think that's gonna have to be it.
We've got to do it because I'm so sure.
It's
Lamar
Josh Allen.
Jackson, dude. It's not.
It is Josh Allen.
It's really not. It's just not. It's really not. Like I said, you can't nobody name one thing that Josh Allen's done. He hasn't even left a mark in the NFL yet.
Yes, you're right.
Not a footprint. He
But
if he
hold
had to
on
if he
now.
had to retire today, nobody would remember Josh Allen years to come. Because he
Well,
hasn't done anything. He won't even Lamar Jackson will get brought up in conversations because they're gonna be always talking about MVPs. They're gonna bring him up, especially in all the rushing records he got and all the accolades. Bro, it's a totally different level of play right there. Lamar Jackson's definitely better than Josh Allen.
I feel like if you take away that little silly MVP
But
title
you
that he
can't.
got, you
Silly.
can't.
You to be
You,
unanimous
yeah,
MVP is silly. In a year,
it's
Patrick Mahomes,
if you take
Mr.
away that
KC,
one
you have
little,
got to
you
be
take that one
insane.
little title away, and you're
Arguably the second best prize in all of the NFL. If you can't win the Super Bowl, you might as well be MVP. Ask Aaron Rodgers.
wonder who has more playoff wins between old Josh Allen.
I'm sure it's Josh Allen. I'm sure it is. Because when you playing in the NFC East and when you playing in the North and you was getting so many
No, he's
first
in the
round
AFC
buys, when
AFC
you
East.
right, but when the Ravens was getting first round buys, you can't count that. How many times has the Bills been a first round buy team? Let's ask that question then. We want to talk about Lamar and his wins. How many times he done got his team to where they didn't even have to play week one?
Yeah, hold on. We need to have
Like, what are we
we
talking? Let's do it.
we
Come
actually
on,
need
big
to have.
trust, big
I
trust, man. If
I
you
I,
if we didn't have Patrick Mahomes, big trust, you would be welcome here in KC, and I put that on everything. We can start a survey. We would take Lamar Jackson without a shadow of a doubt. Big trust.
I mean, I'd take Lamar. I would, but I'd also take Josh Allen. And if
I
you look at
wouldn't.
this,
I don't
look,
want Philip Rivers.
can, can we touch on these playoff numbers for a moment because it is Josh Allen is 4-4 in the playoffs, which means he has 4 wins, 4 losses.
So he's five
Lamar
hundred.
Jackson is 1-3.
Right. So he's
So
divisional losses though, harder competition. Half of them Bengals wins is when they playing in the first round and they beat whatever bums they got to play because they got to play in the first weekend. It's wild card. Yawn.
I think the Bills have only got the bye one time.
They haven't got to buy any time because they're bums. The
Yeah,
Ravens was getting the buy because they was winning the AFC. So I mean, 1-3. I take that 1-3 when we didn't have to play the first week. But week two, they saw real competition. It was probably Kansas City. Who knows? Who knows? Rolling
right.
through the town, rolling through the town. And we got to look at level competition. Then that's a whole nother beast.
Well, I mean, really, if you look at the AFC, anyone making the playoffs
It's hard
besides,
fought. It's hard
yeah,
fought.
besides the South, that's the only, and even the South wasn't no punk this year if you look at it. So I would say just making the playoffs is a pretty good accomplishment. And for the Bills, they did it. You
Yeah,
know,
okay, and if
he's,
that's an accomplishment, imagine not even having to play the first week at all, getting that bye week. Something we know all too well here in Kansas City recently.
well, the bye week don't make you miss the whole little playoff trip.
I know, but it's got you resting the first week of the playoffs because you was good enough not to have to play any of these jabronis.
Man, that all one time. You talking about one time? You talking about one season?
One
You
time,
cherry picking one
it
season.
was it just
Had
one?
a
You sure?
Yeah. I don't think Lamar is
You
out
sure?
here with two bye weeks. Maybe it was two, but
I'm
I'm
thinking
pretty
it was
sure it's.
two.
I think it was just one, and he's still missing a trip to the playoffs. Notice that fourth
You
loss.
said he's missing. What were you talking about? What happened? He's
Well,
missing one.
Allen lost four times in the playoffs.
Yeah, he sure did.
He's
And he
also
ain't.
won. He's won four times as many games.
He's won. No, not as four times as many. He's won.
Four
You could say
times as
two
many
two and a
in the
quarter.
playoffs.
You can say two and a quarter because he only got four. My boy got one. Well, like I said, he had to play
Four
uh
times
two,
one.
and he had to play two times as many games too, because Lamar and them didn't have to
Hey,
do it.
I take them cheap, easy playoff wins.
I bet you would,
It might even have been one of them against the
but
Ravens, if I'm
but
not
let them to.
mistaken.
No, I doubt it.
One of them easy ones.
Mm-mm. Good night, never. Not against these Ravens. I can tell you. Hold on, when did Lamar? He came in 18. They went to playoffs that year. Lost to the
Yeah,
Chargers, and they finished first. What is that in the conference?
yeah, just lost in the playoffs. That's what you're gonna hear a lot out of Lamar Jackson.
It was his rookie year. I mean, yeah, that's cool. But they won the
Mm,
conference that year in his rookie. Josh Allen ain't never won the conference in any of his years playing in the NFL. So I mean, I'll take that. Here we go, another one. Back in what year is this? 2020. I said, man, these Ravens has been nasty.
I mean, yeah,
It's
yeah.
the
Both
Bengals.
teams,
It's the
both.
Bengals who beat
I'm
them the
not
other
saying that
time.
the Ravens are a bad team or Lamar Jackson is a bad quarterback. I'm just saying he's not as good as Josh Allen.
Right, he's not as good because he's clearly better. I agree.
Oof, 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 oof,
So,
oof,
like I said,
oof.
what accolade Josh Allen got? What does he
He
got? What does
he
he got
beat
to his name?
he beat Pat Mahomes in the regular season that couple times.
So Lamar beat him too.
What, one time? How many times?
Once is enough.
No, not enough. When we're comparing quarterbacks, but Josh Allen done it twice now.
So that's
Eh,
enough, huh?
that's just twice as many. That's a whole
Unanimous
extra.
MVP,
I mean, you're taking the unanimous
all-time
MVP. I'm
quarterback
taking that.
rushing leader.
I'm taking the extra three playoff wins. I'm taking the
Take
extra
that.
beating Pat Mahomes win.
Man,
Like,
please.
like that.
Stuff,
That's almost an
stuff that,
MVP title itself.
stuff that nobody's gonna remember, but they're gonna look in the record books and see Lamar Jackson both seasons setting quarterback rushing yard records and a unanimous MVP record, the second one in history, the only other one in history. What are we even talking about? Josh Allen could never, he'll never eclipse such glory, and I'm willing to put a gentleman's dollar on that right now, Mister Casey.
Well, you never
He'll
want to
never
bet on the
do it.
you never want to bet on the Bills winning
Never.
something. So I'm not going to do
Never.
that.
Right.
Uh,
Never.
that sounds a little bold to me. Just making that prediction. I don't want to go. I'm not going to say that he's going to get a unanimous MVP or a MVP title itself.
Hmm.
I won't even take that leeway. 'Cause they don't just hand those out. They are.
Would you say they just don't hand them out, huh?
No, they do become hard to get sometimes. Uh,
And when Lamar Jackson won it, literally everybody who voted for him. There was no question.
there was everyone, every single buddy.
Unanimous.
I I mean, I don't. I didn't vote for him, but I guess my vote don't count. So,
Man, good night.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see with that MVP get some. You know what though? That MVP didn't get him paid, and it didn't take that for old
Not yet.
Joshy boy.
Not yet. It ain't got them paid yet, but it will.
Yeah, I
It
mean,
will.
it will actually.
It will.
It
You
will.
know it. Oh, it will.
But by the time this versus battle is released, he could actually have already been paid. This could have aged very poorly, but uh, I think it's still a chance. I'd like to see Josh Allen um, continue to dominate Lamar Jackson.
I don't even see how you can say he's dominating something when this man has no NFL record to his name at all.
He might have the. I don't think I can't name any
It
significant ones that he has.
don't
Uh,
exist.
well, out of oh, see, Lamar's never been as overhyped as Josh Allen is.
Because he's a unanimous MVP. You know what you're getting.
Mm, mm, Just, I think we need to loop away from this MVP talk.
Unanimous.
It is pretty unanimous.
Oh man.
Well,
Like I
folks,
said, man, I
make
wouldn't
sure
trade Dan
you.
Marino for Philip Rivers. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. You let us know, folks, in the comments for this
Please.
versus battle. Who you taking, Lamar Jackson
And I'll come
or
thoroughly prepared
Josh
like I
Allen?
did with my last one. Big trust.
Mm,
I got to give me a Lamar. Lamar, wherever you go, I'm officially a fan. I'm rooting
mm.
for your team, everything that you got going on.
Get you a nice Falcons jersey. It'll look
They
good.
say they don't want him. I was so shocked.
And I think that's a little. That
But I
might
think
be a
it's a
little.
media ploy too, because they think you don't want him. Yeah. So if they think that, tell me, shoot, we'll go ahead and offer him that 45 million, and then all of a sudden, no, the Ravens ain't gonna match it.
Right. Look.
Atlanta, and they're gonna sign Allen Robinson, have some talent down there with them. Boom, bam, let's
Mm,
do it. $56 million.
we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Let us know, folks.
Let us know, cause we out here. Let us know what y'all think. Like I said about that Bobby Wagner situation too. Let us know what you think about all of this. Who do you think is going where? How do you think this thing gonna unfold? What changes would y'all make to fix these teams? Let us know. Really, holler at us. Holler at me and Denjarn, Mr. KC. Holler at us. Let us know.
Right.
Well, folks, it sounds like we're walking up a steep hill, and there's a king up there,
Mm.
and we about to move into this segment, which we call "Come About Your Shirt," King of the Hill,
Oof. Oh, Kingy.
and
Oh, God dang it, Bobby. What are
right,
we? What are we
King of the
talking about
Hill.
here?
We done drug the grill up here. We got all the propane and propane accessories. We got everything that you could need: the ribs, the beef, the dogs, the burgers. What you want? Corn going on last.
Uh,
Uh,
and since Representative Florida, we got little fish and shrimp on the barbie.
yeah, a little gator
A
because
little
since
gator.
they're running rampant, little gator out there. We caught him yesterday, boiled
Uh,
him up today, descaled him yesterday. All
uh,
that,
my brother-in-law was talking about going to get a gator before I
dude. If
came
he
on
do,
here.
tell him make
Actually,
me a belt if he can. If y'all get one, make me a belt.
we'll see what we could do.
I appreciate it. I bust it every day, every Wednesday, folk. Y'all see that belt. Uh, anyway, moving into the King of the Hill. This is gonna be the first week I actually suggest a King of the Hill to Mr. KC because I had two King of the Hills in my mind because of recent action I've seen. And ladies and gentlemen, Either I'm gonna start coming with these shorts, or we got to come with some other stuff to talk about this wrestling and this UFC because things have been going down. WWE and AEW, all of that. Hashtag it. We need to start putting it in the ticker.
Mm,
Matter of fact, maybe we can do. We got time for two King of the Hills. How are you feeling in your soul, Mister KC?
I'm
Are you
so
willing to go on a journey with me?
you know I'm soulful.
Okay, well, shoot, man. We're gonna put these black eyed peas on this plate. Uh, we're gonna do both of them. BUFFUM, folks. First time in history, we doing both of them right now because it's on my mind, and I gotta know. We're gonna start with NFL wide receivers, King of the Hill, and I'm gonna
Okay.
start. And I'm gonna start with something that I was kind of hinting toward earlier. I was feeling what they call. I was filling out the situation, feeling the energy. Keyshawn Johnson, Super Bowl champion, steps up to the plate. And on the other side is Chris Carter.
Oh,
Who's winning that?
Christopher Carter, Mr.
Ooh,
Christopher
he
Carter.
not even a thought. He goes
Oh,
Chris Carter.
yes, yes. Sorry,
Yeah.
Keyshawn. You're an underrated wide receiver in NFL history, but give me Christopher Carter.
Keyshawn, champion. Nonetheless, good night. Chris Carter has put you to bed. The Ohio State University reigns again. Moving on to the middle of the hill, working his way up top, Christopher Carter. He walks across a man, and I do mean a man's man, a man's man, a man at wide receiver who wasn't to be trifled with, a man at wide receiver who's slightly underrated, who I don't think gets enough respect. He walked across Marvin Harrison. Who you taking in this King of the Hill battle?
Between Chris Carter and Marvin Harrison. Oh, Chris Carter.
Still over
Still. Oh,
Marvin Toe Drag Harrison?
yes. Oh, yes. Absolutely.
Oh,
There wasn't even
ooh.
hesitation. I needed clarification that we was even having that he was in the same
Two
weight class.
champions down. Two champions down. Two respectable champions. Two champions that have records to their name. Two champions down. Okay. The final man at the top of the hill, well, at the quarter of the top, man who's been waiting for his final opponent to see who's going to claim this week Kings of the Hill of the wide receivers. And I just can't believe that Chris Carter done made it all this way. He done fought, he scrapped, his knuckles are bloody. Ohio State theme is pumping in the back. Anyway, I'm not going to do the noises. But Chris Carter had to walk up on a man who's a man's man. And I just dropped that for the second time in a row. He walked up on Andre Johnson. Who do you got?
Oh, Chris Carter. Uh,
Chris Carter again? Oh
Yeah,
my
I can't believe. Yeah, I thought
God.
you was gonna bring someone heavy. This was. Oof,
Someone heavy. Andre
yeah.
Johnson's not heavy?
No, Marvin Harrison was heavier than Andre Johnson.
Are you
Yeah,
Andre Johnson's a dog.
he
He was
was a
the best
dog.
receiver in the NFL for like 9 years straight.
He might have been the worst wide receiver you listed.
Ladies and gentlemen,
As we'll call him.
Ohio State then move to the top of the hill. Chris Carter, you are the coldest of the cold in this situation. Marvin Harrison can't touch you. Keyshawn Johnson can't touch you. Andre Johnson got nothing for you. Goodness gracious.
Mm,
Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard it here. He said it's easy. He didn't even have to think about it 3 times. The quickest three answers I ever heard in my life. Ever heard in my life.
Just just hit him with that Steph Curry
Just hit it
little
right.
three peat.
Turned around. Turned around.
Yeah.
Okay. You got it then. Okay, Mr. KC. You got it.
All right, let's stick with that. I like that wide receiver category. It's a fun one to do.
Woo.
And since I got stuck with a guy that didn't have a ring in my head. Let's talk about another guy that didn't have a ring, and that's Debo, Dwayne
Ooh,
Bowe. Let's give you some
my
Debo.
boy.
Since we're doing Debo and we're both Chiefs fans, I'm going to give him his first opponent, another fellow Chief, former Chief, in Jeremy Maclin. You taking Debo with Jeremy Maclin?
Debo, that's the easy. You want to talk about easy? That Chris Conley, that Keyshawn and Chris Conley. I don't give them. I say Chris Conley. That that Chris Carter and that Keyshawn. That should have took longer. I'm so surprised you came that so quick. The question you just asked me was the easiest one. There ain't no way.
Mm,
Jeremy Macklin. Who was that? I know who.
mm.
I know who Dwayne Bowe is. Who was Jeremy Macklin? Stop
Jeremy
playing.
Maclin's the reason. Why can't I remember his name?
He ain't the reason for nothing. He couldn't
Glenn,
stay healthy.
the GM.
Oh, Glenn Dorsey.
Yeah, Glenn Dorsey. That's the reason Glenn Dorsey got fired. That's,
He should have been, because yeah, that was a terrible pick.
hmm Ain't no one
Mm-mm-mm.
shed no tear over losing Debo. But anyways, we'll digest this. Is your hill. You're allowed to crown him. Before we ain't got Macklin, let's hit him with another one. Let's stay in that same corner.
He said Macklin.
Debo versus Jew Smith Schuster.
I'm going with Juju. He's a champion.
Taking Juju.
I like the
Ooh,
hardware.
ooh. All right, all right. And then for
Mhm.
the final contender, last guy to take a chance. We'll stick since we're picking rings here. Let's go with another guy with a ring. Another favorite of mine. Another guy I was excited to get, and another big reason we got a ring. Mr. Sammy Watkins. You taking Juju or Sammy
Juju.
Watkins? What? No, that was the
Sammy
wrong
Watkins
answer.
trash.
I didn't know. I didn't know you could give a
Always
wrong
hurt.
answer, but it was possible.
Juju
Oh,
is new. TikTok your way up to the top of the hill, my man. Because Sammy might be a champion, but he didn't earn it.
mm, 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 mm,
Mm, mm, mm.
mm. Sammy earned it. He had a pretty good Super Bowl and a decent playoff run. It was okay.
The stats say
Look, I put
otherwise.
a Sammy. I need to put my Sammy Watkins jersey right about here.
Mm-mm.
Right
Mm-mm.
about. Got good in space.
Need to get Juju.
Juju. It wouldn't. It's just so long. It's such a long name. Smith Schuster.
Man,
Just
champion.
there's a lot going on.
And somebody who the Chiefs actually want to resign.
Mm.
Mm.
And
Mm.
kind of in that category, I hope they kind of think about moving in different directions. Rather a DeAndre Hopkins type.
No,
No.
too
Did we
much
just.
money. You could have just paid Tyreek.
He's willing to renegotiate and maybe even take a few dollars less.
He got to
So
get bought out or something.
yeah, something we do need to figure. So he is a little costly,
Mm-mm.
but
Not around my Jimmys, he can't.
mm,
Mm-mm. Ladies and gentlemen, moving to the next area of this King of the Hill. We're going to talk a little wrestling, a little tag team wrestling.
oh, oof.
Hmm. The first opponent stepping to the hill, we got two bad brothers. And when I say brothers, they call themselves brothers. And the way they look, the DNA could work because we know anything is possible. We got Bubba Ray and Devon Dudley, the Dudley boys, versus one of my other favorite tag teams who was low key hated on, low key scrutinized. Well, not scrutinized, but not even hyped up to their full glory. We got Hardcore and Crash Holly, the two cousins from Alabama.
Mm.
Who you got going into this one?
I think I'm sticking with the Dudley brothers. I think they deserved this, at least in this very current moment, to be rated number two
Okay.
or number one. Excuse me.
Now that the Dudley boys in 3D their way to the next level, when the 1, 2, 3 came up and the shoulders went down on the mat and they looked up at the Titan trying to see who was coming out next. They happened to see a tag team that was unlikely to come out because it wasn't a tag team for long, but it was an effective tag team nonetheless. They saw the Rock and Sock connection, Dwayne the Rock Johnson and Mankind coming down the Titantron.
Oh, rock and sock 'em. Look,
Rock and Sock.
look. This we might just call it right here. Actually, this might be tough one to beat. Man, folks don't even know.
We might
That,
just call it right here.
yeah, rock and sock 'em. That was man. That'd be a tough tag team opponent for any kind of combination, really.
For real, you got somebody who's insane and somebody who's the Rock is almost a sociopath at this point. The dude he talks
Right.
strictly in third person.
The
Like
ultimate
he's a
hill. Yeah.
okay, so we got the Rock and Sock connection beating the Dudley boys in this round, and we gonna cap it off with a test of all tests. They get to the final level, the level where this opponent's been waiting. The Rock and Sock Connection has to face the Road Dog Jesse James and the badass Billy Gunn, the new age outlaws of D Generation X.
Oh,
Who you got going into that, Mr. KC?
rock 'em, sock 'em.
He's
Like
here on
it's,
some soccer. He's in
it's
regardless.
yeah.
Ooh.
This is a good match. It'll be interesting to watch.
Ooh,
And
that'd be a
whatnot.
great
But
match, man.
I'm a huge Mankind fan
I
and
know.
a huge Rock fan. It's just game over.
He says game over. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here. The kings of the tag team hill are Dwayne The Rock Johnson, Mankind, Cactus Jack, Dude Love, whatever iteration you want. Mick Foley is winning. And
Yes,
really, I should have threw Cactus Jack out there. That man was dangerous.
uh,
Uh,
all of them,
all
every
of them.
version.
You almost need to do
Mankind
a,
was.
almost need to do a King of the Hill with all three of his personalities.
Yeah, right. Who you
Who's the
can,
most
right?
dangerous sociopath in this group? Oh, not to mention they're all the same guy. So
It's literally the same person.
oh
Uh,
my goodness, yes sir. I can't lie. I like you pick the Rock and Sock because there's not too many teams that could take them out. I had another one in mind I was gonna hit you with, but I really thought that last one might give. I thought it might get them for you.
it
So
was close. It
we'll
was
see.
tough competition. All right, let me hit you with one little wrestling, little King of the Hill situation. For this situation, we're kind of looking for a big guy. We need to
Mm.
find the big guy. So I'm going
Mm.
to start you out with the Undertaker. And if you're going to
Mm.
have 81 go against the Undertaker, you got to pick Kane.
I knew it. And I'm picking Kane.
Mm, mm.
My surprise folk, I'm always gonna pick the little brother with the grudge coming out the flames of hell. I
all right.
remember every time Undertaker used to see Kane when he first showed up, he'd be scared, gotta get up out of there. Kane got the nastiest like uppercut, but it's like a choke cut. Like you know what it is? Like he hit you right here almost. And all you hear is thunder go through the arena. He's just smacking.
Mm.
Woo! I'm going with Kane.
Speaking of big guys, since Kane took down Undertaker, and this guy's may not be tall, big,
Mm.
but he is big, and he is probably known as the dude with the biggest butt in all of WWF history. And it is Oh, help me out here. What's his name?
Rikishi.
Rikishi. There we go. Rikishi versus Kane. Does Kane got what it takes to handle all that Rikishi?
He's sending all that down through the mat probably. And what JR saying, down into the depths of hell. Yeah, that choke slam straight to hell. Like there's no way. Rikishi, you should have stayed on Samoa, my boy. There's no way. He's not ready for that dance.
Man, Rikishi put in some work though. It was a good
He's a bad
challenge.
man jam.
And now that Kane has a bad back from lifting all this weight, he will find his toughest opponent yet. And that is the giant of all giants,
Oh God.
Andre
I
the
knew it.
Giant
Oh God.
versus
Yeah, well,
Kane.
good night, folks. Good night. It's over. Kane, you had an amazing run, but he done pulled out the seventh wonder of the world. It's just, yeah. Dude's hand was bigger than a microwave. Like, what are we
Right.
talking about? Like, bro, he could probably fold your laptop in half like it was a piece of paper.
Mm,
Um, it's Andre the Giant. He's it's not even arguable. He's literally the most popular WWF wrestler of all time. Like he put them on. He
right.
literally like all around the world they wanted to get Andre in movies. He doing the Princess Bride and all kind of stuff everywhere. Got the Rock's grandpa in a James Bond movie. Like bro, Andre he's more than just a wrestler. He's probably the original wrestling influencer. Is definitely
Right.
Andre the Giant.
I'm right there with you.
Definitely. Ooh, that vanilla Coke, ladies and gentlemen. And we ain't sponsored by, it, but that's what's matriculating. Uh, Shout out to my boy R.I.P. We matriculating the Coke down my throat like we matriculated the ball down the field for our first Super Bowl win. Hank, my man.
Right.
Now that we three chips in, and I'm officially belligerent as a fan. Tell me, you fucking loser. Well, that's how I feel. So, pardon my French. What can you tell me? We're champions, thorough through and through.
Exactly.
What can you tell
Exactly.
me? So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children who's probably went to bed because they are of young and old ages because there's still school tomorrow. We want to thank y'all for being here. We want to thank y'all for listening to how we can fix the Steelers and the Ravens, the Bengals and the Browns. Them Browns. Oh my God. Which probably, if I the worst team in this situation by far is the Ravens. Even though I've spoke about them highly and
Yeah.
all the stuff they could do, they are definitely the worst team in this situation because if they lose Lamar, it's done. This season's done. Possibly the next three. I believe the Browns are a close second into being the worst in this situation, and then it's Bengals, and then I believe the best team in this situation is the Steelers. So we'll see how that shakes out. But
Oof.
ladies and gentlemen, we'll have another one coming soon. Hey, we can talk about it again. But they got the best
Right.
situation going forward because they only need the little bit amount to tweak. They got their quarterback. They need just wide receiver, like I said, a little bit extra help on that defense, another skill player. You might be looking
That's
at the
a wrap.
champions of the North.
Right.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we'll get more into it later. I'm that dude with the beard. He's Mr. KC from the 813. We'll check you later. Peace.